All right, guys, what is going on? Back with another video, and today we're going to talk about the Georgia Southern Blue and White game that's coming up this weekend. I am really excited about this. I want to see how this plays out because there's some guys that are on the roster that I didn't think that was still on the roster, and there's some players that I want to see and see how well they do because of injuries that they're bouncing back from. Players that I was interested in once they came in to Georgia Southern, and it is really interesting because I think this roster is actually pretty good. Now, with the way the roster is, there's always a chance that people are going to transfer out after the spring game. It's happened the last couple of years. I would not be surprised that happens, sometime this year. But nevertheless, I'm really interested and I'm happy to see what we have here. So if you are just coming through, I really appreciate it. Follow me on Rumble, follow me on X at VF Baller, and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. I really would appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody who has been watching the podcast and the videos throughout the week. All right, so the blue and white game is going to be this upcoming Saturday, which is the 20th. Unfortunately, it's not going to be shown on ESPN Plus. Is a conflict of scheduling, and the baseball team is having a game where the radio guys are going to be broadcasting the baseball game. So with that being said, we're not going to have any radio as well, which is kind of unfortunate because I wish that we can get something. And for me, I was going to go to the game, but my mom's in town, so I'm spending the weekend with my mom. So I won't be able to go to the game. But nevertheless, I'm definitely going to keep my ear to the ground about what's going on. I know someone is going to let me know. I have a few people who keep me informed with all that's going on, especially within games or whatever, when I can't pretty much reach the game or whatever. But let's look at this roster. First, we're going to look at the blue team because the defense is the side that, you don't have much to worry about, but it all depends on what the offense do. If the offense can keep the ball a little bit longer, you won't tire out the defense. And that's kind of what was the MO for the past few years for Georgia Southern. Just the offense never really got it going outside of the year we did have Kyle Vantrease. And you saw what we were able to do. Like, there were some things that could have been fixed, but that first year, it was great. Second year, we really need to go down that path. Nevertheless, look at this defense right here. Marquise Watson Trent will be returning. I'm not too fixated on what he's going to do in the spring game. I mean, most of this stuff is like a big scrimmage anyway. So I'm not like pinpointing a Pacific player to be like this outstanding player. But there are some few names on defense that I would like to see do a little bit of something just to see that these guys are actually, ready to go. One name that definitely stands out is Kamon Mathis, a redshirt freshman out of DeSoto, Texas. I don't know if he's going to play. I would love to see him get some playing time because I've heard a lot of good things about him. So Kamon Mathis out of DeSoto, Texas. Didn't play much last season. He was a red shirt, but this season I would like to see him get more playing time. You have a lot of other guys that are in the defensive back, room that, you got a lot of guys that are there that's going to be pretty much moving in and out of those positions. So, and a lot of these guys are actually pretty good in my opinion. You still got TJ Smith and Cam Williams are returning, both of those guys in the fifth and sixth year respectively. And I think Cam did a pretty good job of covering at times. TJ Smith was absolutely awesome coming back from K State. And I forgot he went to McEachern High School, which is not too far from where I am, man. It's a pretty good football program up there as well. A couple other guys that I want to see, the Mark Stampleys of the world. He's a junior, made a name for himself from a freshman and just been improving ever since. Good to see him back. So I want to see what he can do as well. A couple other guys that's in the defensive back room. Kevin Speed is another one that I want to see. I've heard a lot of good things about him. So those are the few names that I see in the defensive, backfield that I would like to see. As far as linebackers, I've heard a lot about this Jamari Whitehead kid. I really want to see him do some things. Is he going to play a little bit? It will be good to see. But you still have like those veterans that are here, like Marquise Watson Trent, Devon Gilmore, he's played pretty good. MJ Stroud. So most of the guys I want to see the younger guys get a chance. So like I said, Kevin Speed is a redshirt sophomore, Jamari Whitehead, redshirt freshman. I want to see what these guys can do because those are the guys that you want to develop to be better players. I mean, you kind of saw that with the Mark Stampley. You actually saw that with Marquise Watson Trent when he was younger. If you saw him come up through the ranks, another one like Isaiah Walker, defensive lineman. Let's get to the defensive lineman. And Isaiah Walker, he's returning back. Good to see him come back and play. You got a Brandon Palmer as well that's coming from the same high school that Isaiah Walker played. So that's another defensive player that I want to see do well on the field. A couple other guys that I really haven't talked about much that's on the defensive line that throughout the season, last season, that I want to see. Kevin Seka, I don't think he played much last year at all, but I've heard good things about him out of Lithia Springs. You also have Deshaun Davis. He's going to be returning. Good to see him. Want to see what he can do. Now, I didn't know this. I didn't know Christian Varner was still on the team. This is another name that I did not know about, and that's interesting. I didn't know. Eli Anders, freshman out of Hull High School. I think that's how I said the same high school that Brandon Palmer and Isaac Walker came out of. It's like that pipeline from North Carolina. Is that high school in North Carolina? You're starting to get those players. Once again, like I said, you got Eli Anders, you got Deshaun Davis, you got Braden Palmer, I'm sorry, and you also have Isaac Walker. All those guys from that same high school together going to be on one side of the ball. That's going to be pretty interesting. So, like I said, Eli Anders, you also, like I said, Jamari Whitehead from Jacksonville. These are some names that are sticking out to me. Kebaseka is another one. Those are some guys that I want to see what they can do. Because you already know the names like Latrell Bullard. You already know those type of guys. Justin Rose, like I said, and you already know those guys. Reed Dedman. Those are the names that you know. But when it comes to the spring game, I want to see these young guys do some things. So that pretty much, that pretty much rounds out the defense that I've seen that I want to see. That's on the team that I want to see them play pretty well during the spring game. Let's jump over here to the offense. Now, you already know what it's going to be with the offense. When you can start talking about the offense, it's basically going to be the quarterbacks. What quarterback's going to be playing? Which one's going to be on the field? There's a lot of rumblings about not the wide receivers, but about the quarterbacks. Tyler Budge is one to come to mind. I've heard some good things about him. Dexter Williams is the transfer from Indiana. He's going to be the starter? Davis Dallas back from that injury. He's going to be back? He's going to be back. I've seen him on the field during practice. Looks like he's going to be another guy that, hey, could he rise from the ranks? J.C. French, that's a fan favorite. A lot of people talk about him. Kobe Walton was recruited a couple last year. He redshirted out of Tennessee, and don't know much about him. But what is he doing? My personal favorite, Colton Fitzgerald, the guy who I would like to see be QB1. What is he going to be like? Are all these guys going to get some type of playing time? Right now you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 6 quarterbacks on the roster right now, and for all intents and purposes, you may only have one. I'm not going to say one. I'm sorry. You're going to have one being the starter, obviously, but who's going to be your priority? You're probably going to have 3 that's your priority. So when you look at that, you're probably going to have Dexter Williams, Davis Dallas, Colton Fitzgerald. That's what I would think. Or, J.C. French, once again, Dexter Williams, J.C. French, my thing, I know a lot of people like J.C. French. I don't have a dog in the fight for either one or any of these guys. Whoever's QB1 is fine. But me personally, I would like to see Colton Fitzgerald. And I already said my reasons. He's been here the longest. He knows. I would think he would know the system more than anybody. He's the most tenured since Coach Clay Helton's been here. So that's what I would think. Now, when you look at the rest of this offense, I am really interested to see what these guys are going to be doing with this offense, because you got a lot of guys that are going to be trying to get the football. First person I want to talk about is Sam Kennerson. He's coming back from injury. I've seen him do a few things on the field during practice. What are we going to get out of him? Are we getting a bounce back finally? He had a devastating knee injury against Nebraska, and we didn't know what was going to happen there. But he did play it down in last year, and but looked like he's going to be ready to go all the way this year. So I would love to see what he's going to do. Now you got a couple other guys here that are known names that I feel like they're going to be or pretty much safety blankets. Derwin Burgess, you already know about him. And who's the other? Marcus Sanders is another one. He had somewhat of a down year last year. His freshman year was like awesome. So I would love to see him bounce back as well. Now, you had the 4-star recruit that came from Oklahoma, Bunkley Shelton. He came from Oklahoma. Love to see what he's going to be able to do in this offense. Jalen Barton is returning as well at wide receiver. DeAndre Buchanan, if I haven't mentioned his name already, you got him. And, Dalen Cobb, another guy that was very, very good for the team last year. Katie Dorsey has been a return specialist for the team. And you have Josh Dallas, a guy that not many people really talk about much. He's the brother of Davis Dallas. And you got a guy who is a speedster, Joshua Thomas. And I mean, you got so many weapons here, so many weapons at receiver. Whoever's throwing the ball to these guys should not have an issue getting the ball to them. The main thing is we just have to get the ball to our teammates, not necessarily throwing interceptions or whatever the case may be. But like I said, you know how that go. Nevertheless, tight ends, Tyler Fromm is returning. I mean, he's not returning, but he's coming from Auburn. Is he going to play? I just don't know about that. And you got Bo Johnson. He's returning for a 6th season. Kind of didn't get much playing time as I thought he would last year, but he's a very formidable tight end. So him and Tyler Fromm back there, that not just the spring game, but going into the season, I would love to see these guys get some reps. And last but not least, well, I ain't gonna say last but not least, because we're gonna talk about the offensive line first. Because last but not least, it's going to be the running backs. So I did not know this. Brooks Pangle moved to wide receiver, which is very interesting because he was a quarterback in high school. But you look at his offensive line, we got some big guys at offensive line. 6'7", 300. Kalen Williams out of Dublin, he's returning. You still have Jason Canuck from North Carolina. He is the I think I said the Canuck. He is the offensive alignment from North Carolina transfer. Bryson Broadway is another guy from Georgia State that transferred here. And we also have Weston Wallace, offensive lineman out of Georgia. So you got a lot of guys here with a good bit of experience, with the transfers coming in. And you still got some guys that are returning that are absolutely monsters. Pashawn Wimley, this guy is probably going to be playing on Sundays, how well he's been playing offensive line. And I really believe that the way that he's been playing. Chandler Strong is returning once again, and he's going to be here. Chandler Strong is a redshirt sophomore. He played sometimes a little bit throughout the last couple seasons. I didn't think he played much last year, but I heard a lot of good things about Chandler Strong. And I want to know who, I think it was Caleb Cook. You heard his name a little bit. I can't remember, but nevertheless, you do have other tight ends as well. I just forgot about them. I want to apologize. Evan Lester, Elijah Walton, and J.P. McHale. So I would want to say that Fromm and Bo Johnson is going to be the front runners, but Evan Lester and McCall, don't sleep on them as well. Now, last but not least, I want to talk about the running backs because we got some pretty good running backs here. Jalen White is returning for his 5th season. I would love to see what he's going to be able to do behind the quarterback, what type of offense we're going to run. We also have O.J. Arnold's returning as well. Kind of a down year, sophomore slump, but his freshman year was absolutely awesome. Love to see what he can do when he bounces back and what he's going to play in the spring game. As far as Terrence Gibbs, I honestly would like to see him more than any other running back right now. I want to see Terrence Gibbs, pretty much be the feature back in this spring game. So when you talk about all these other guys, like I said, I named pretty much all the receivers because the type of offense you're running. The quarterback because it's not a question mark on who's actually going to be the guy. But as far as running back go, you know what you're getting out of O.J. Arnold. You know what you're getting out of Jalen White. You pretty much know what you're getting out of David Badinga. So he played a little bit too. But when you look at a guy like Terrence Gibbs, former 4-star running back that was supposed to be at Florida, and knee injury kind of messed that up, but he ended up coming to Georgia Southern, and he's only a redshirt sophomore, guys. You still got some years with this guy, so hopefully we'll see how that goes as well. Now, there's a lot of other freshmen that are true freshmen, not knowing that we'll see them that's going to be that's going to be playing. Like I said, I named Tyler Budge. Carlos Mays is another one. I don't know. Zach Pearson is the offensive lineman. Don't know what they're going to see out of those guys. But outside of the running backs, we got a couple of other ones that are here but I'm not sure we'll see much of them. I would be surprised if we do see Robert Edwards III. I would like to see him. I think he did, I think he was one of those guys that was kind of sought after, in my opinion, and in the state of Georgia. So I would like to see a little bit of him, but I definitely would like to see Terrence Gibbs. I think Terrence Gibbs is the guy because I want to see after a whole year of not really playing, even like same thing with Sam Kennerson, both of those guys kind of messed their knees up and was not able to, pretty much play a whole season. So outside of those two, not outside, but those two guys, I would really like to see. So that's pretty much it. I know that last part was kind of all over the place because there's so many moving pieces on offense. And that's just how this offense is going to be. I would not be surprised that you get a situation where you get 3 or 4 guys that are catching over 700-800 yards a season, and then you still have a running back that's running for almost 1,000 yards. Just have a high power offense. I would love to see that. So let me know what you guys think. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you just if you would like to subscribe, I would love this. Love that. I will keep the content coming. The podcast is every Sunday night, Monday morning on this channel, on YouTube and Rumble. YouTube is the audio side. Rumble is the visual side. And throughout the week, I make videos just out just like this. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I will see you guys on the next one. Guys, take it easy and y'all be blessed. Peace.